Good morning, everybody. This is your Daily Bread, July 9th. Psalm 39, Proverbs 9, and Luke 7 will be our reading. And listen, a couple of days ago, the sale of our family home officially closed. And yesterday was a day with mixed emotions, right? So much relief on the financial burden lifted, nearly $700,000 of debt, to be candid. When you combine the mortgage, the home line, a couple RV loans, and you think about the journey to acquire that much debt, tapping into your entire home line to do renovations with bad contractors. I mean, literally having cranes on the property lifting up our buildings, and then you combine that with legal bills. If you don't know the story, feel free to ask. But it's been a journey. So closing that TD account that represented that was such an amazing relief. It was like goodbye and hello, new chapter in my life. That lasted for a second. And then yesterday I received a few messages and they hurt deeply. They were accusations, assumptions, strong emotions. And for a moment, I could feel myself wanting to defend, of course, myself, to explain, to justify, to make sure my side was understood. And I know you guys have been there. We all have been there. Someone says something that doesn't line up with how you experienced events, and everything in you wants to respond. Everything in you wants to make that record straight. But this is why we have God's word, right? Psalm 39. David writes, "I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue." Because sometimes the greatest battle isn't what someone else says. It's what happens inside our hearts afterwards. Will I speak from peace or from pain? Will I respond from wisdom or from woundedness? David doesn't pretend he's okay. He pours out his grief to God. He brings his tears to God. He refuses to let his pain become sin. That's where I want to be. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Daily, I have to return back to him. But I'm not pretending that, I am hurting. Of course. But I'm refusing to let this hurt become bitterness. I get to Proverbs 9, and this is a different picture. 2 invitations, 2 tables. Wisdom calls. Foolishness also calls. Both sound very convincing. One leads to life, one leads to destruction. And I realize this. Wisdom isn't just about making smart decisions. Sometimes wisdom is knowing when not to react. Sometimes wisdom is choosing prayer before response. Sometimes wisdom is protecting peace instead of winning arguments. That's hard, right? Especially when you feel misunderstood. And then there's Luke 7. It reminds me of something that I desperately need, and I believe we all do. The Roman centurion tells Jesus, just say the word. He trusted Jesus without needing every explanation. And that's where my faith is being stretched, really. Every single day. I don't know exactly what the weeks ahead look like. There are difficult decisions ahead. There are conversations that still need to happen. There are processes. There are big parenting decisions. Most of all, there are 4 beautiful children that I love with all my heart. And as their dad, my responsibility isn't simply to react to what's happening around me. It's to seek God's wisdom for what will help them flourish, of course, to ask what environment best reflects the heart of Christ. What helps them grow in security, in truth, in peace, and in love? Those aren't easy questions. And honestly, I don't have all the answers yet, but I know the one who does. One of the most beautiful moments in today's reading is when Jesus sees the grieving widow. She never asked him for anything. The scriptures simply say, when the Lord saw her, he had compassion. That encouraged me today because God sees what other people don't. He He sees every heart involved. He sees my heart. He sees Lisa's. He sees our children's. He sees grief. It's hard. This home represented so many amazing experiences and memories. You know, it's a day of mourning just as much as it's a day of joy. So there's confusion there. And there's hurt, and there's pain, and there's fear. You know, the brokenness is true, but the love is real. Nothing is hidden from him. And because he sees clearly, I don't have to carry the burden of trying to control everything. Trust me. That's why I lean not on my understanding. In all my ways, I acknowledge him. And I know the paths will be drawn straight. He's got good plans for future, for hope. He says, call to me and I will answer you and show you great and mighty things. So I have to remain faithful, you know, and that's why I read every single day. It is truly the lamp to my feet, the light to my path. And today's reading reminded me that following Jesus isn't about proving you're right. It's about becoming more like him. Sometimes that means speaking, and sometimes it means being silent. Sometimes it means setting healthy boundaries around your heart. Sometimes it means extending grace while also pursuing wisdom. It's praying for wisdom in this next season. Not wisdom to win, it's wisdom to love well. Wisdom to protect and provide and create stability, especially for my children. Wisdom to walk in truth without becoming hardened. Wisdom to keep my eyes fixed on Jesus instead of getting consumed by any sort of conflict. You know, if you're watching this today and you're walking through your own conflict, don't let someone else's pain become permission for you to abandon the character of Christ. That's what he calls us to. He is the peace in the midst of the storm. Bring your hurt to Jesus, guard your tongue. Guard your heart, for out of it flows life. Sit at wisdom's table and trust that God, who sees every detail, is fully capable of leading you one faithful step at a time. Grace and peace. Seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. I'll see you guys soon.